Time for Fowlers Facts. We bring in our staff statistician, Clinton Fowler. Now, in previous episodes, Clinton, we talked about the 4-0 Moto streak for Jett Lawrence, which tied Jeff Ward in a rider entering this class and being undefeated for the first time. I joked around with Wardy about it actually this week. A, he didn't know he had the record. B, he knew he was going to lose it because he knew Jett was going to win again, and Jett has now. So he's definitely got the rookie record at 6-0. Let's talk about long Moto streaks beyond rookies in general.
You know, it's surprising how many streaks there are that are pretty long. Just look at last season. Eight Moto wins for Eli Tomac in the middle of the season, solidified the championship. I mean, JT, you look at the battles that him and Sexton had last year, an impressive season with an 8 Moto win streak.
Yeah, he caught fire there in the middle of the season, and I give Chase Sexton a ton of credit for being able to fight back. You know, he really got back into the fight and took it all the way down the stretch. Now the question is, can anybody do that to Jett Lawrence this year? But to start out 6-0 here and to do it the way he's doing it in dominant fashion, we've only really seen one moto where he was seriously challenged. It's this kid's something else.
It might take Sexton fighting back again if he can get back on the track to end this one. I know we say it's surprising how many streaks there are, but I think everyone knows of a couple, and we're going to get into the data here on the Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart runs of perfect seasons. But with your data, Carmichael's actually have more than a perfect season worth of streak.
Yeah, I think I don't know about you guys, but I'm holding on the perfect season talk. That said, I'm willing to go a little bit further. There's some streaks that are longer than just one season that both RC and James really put down. You look at it, and the one that really sticks out for me, guys, is Ricky Carmichael. You look at this top 10 list. It's a greatest hits of seasons. And Carmichael's on here 3 times. He won 31 in a row, he won 26 in a row, and he won 13 in a row. And the interesting part, guys, that was all between 2002 and 2005. During that period, guys, he won 85 of 94 motos and 45 of 47 overalls. So Jett started, like, don't get me wrong, what Jett's doing is amazing at 6 motos in a row, and to do that as a rookie. But guys, 85 of 94 motos over a 4-year period. Really, really impressive.
That's, okay, we're going 02, 03, 04, 05. He won all but 2 races overall? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, all but 2. And JT, you lived that. You were lining up on the gate with him there. What'd you see firsthand?
I've been living that life against Ricky Carmichael since about 1989. So yeah, it was really never the same, but those years specifically, I can remember outside of a couple battles or, you know, Sebastian Tortelli trying to challenge him here and there, it was a foregone conclusion who was going to win. We never really talked about it. There weren't many discussions like now about going into every Supercross race or Pro Motocross race about, man, the battle at the front. Can Eli Tomac do it? Is Chase Sexton going to get that first championship? None of that went on. We all knew that Ricky was going to win. It was the battle for the podiums and all the other storylines. Ricky was the alpha. He was the dominant racer. The stats obviously tell us that, but it's a completely different dynamic. There was no conversation about who was going to beat Ricky. We all knew you just couldn't do it. That's just how life was.
Yep.
And so you look at Ricky at that many race wins. Hey, Weech, Ryan Dungey is on this list. 2010 rookie season, he won 11 in a row. So I guess maybe the first thing we should look at is, can as a rookie can Jett meet the 11 in a row?
Yeah, because obviously it is a little early to probably start talking perfect season, but it just gives you a context of what 6-0 is like and how much dominance we've seen in this series before. But I do want to talk about the Dungey year, because here's what's also similar about 2010 with Dungey and Jett Lawrence now. The beginning of the 2010 season, Stewart and Chad Reed are the biggest stars in the sport. Ryan Villopoto's on the rise. All 3 of those guys didn't race outdoors, mostly due to injury. And Stu's team was a Supercross-only team. They tried to jump back in for motocross. They weren't ready. So that's what's a little similar here. No Sexton, no Tomac. I'm not saying that Jett wasn't going to win against them anyway. I'm not willing to say that Jett couldn't beat anyone, including Tomac and Sexton right now. But it's the same thing with Dungey. We didn't even know. Dungey had to race who was there, and that's what Jett has to do. So yeah, it is interesting to compare and contrast to Dungey's rookie season, as you can see with the win streak. 11 in a row. Let's see if Jett can get there. Clinton, you had one other rider you want to talk about in the 250 class.
Yeah, Joe Shimoda, guys. That first moto, absolutely amazing first moto. Down in the first turn, crosses the start line in 30th position. By the 4th lap, he's in 6th position. So he makes up 24 positions in 4 laps. And that is impressive in and of itself. But then he goes and sets the fastest lap on laps 12, 13, and 14. So at the end of the race, he just has this incredible speed. And not just a little bit better. He's nearly a second faster in the 12th lap. He's almost 2 seconds faster in the 13th lap, and just over a second faster in the 14th lap. So just absolutely incredible. So JT, I look at that elevation after passing that many guys. That's impossible. That's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, he was wildly impressive. I got to speak to his rider coach, Nick Way, right after that moto. And even Nick was impressed at how strong he was in the late laps of Moto 1. And that's really what they've been looking for. They came into this series after a great 2022 campaign thinking they were going to be championship contenders. And through just crashes and bad starts and all sorts of different things, that hasn't really played out. So I think this was a breakthrough ride. I think there's data there that they can go back and look at and say, hey, you're there. You need to clean up a few things, stay off the ground, but you can win. Your pace is there. So we'll see what he does with that. But I think it was a really nice little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, if you will, for Joe Shimoda's 2023 season.
Real quick, JT, after a charge like that, I think you had the same thing, Clinton, right? You're wondering about Moto 2 after a charge like that, Clinton?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Moto 2, like he just didn't quite have the same speed.
Yeah, and it's tough to replicate where you just pass everybody and you're setting the fastest lap times along the way. There's so much adrenaline involved in that, and you wonder if he just ran out a little bit of that extra gas late in the second moto. But then he got into that battle with Justin Cooper, and Justin Cooper's closing down the gap, and he turns the fastest lap of the race with 2 laps to go. So I think it was there. But again, this is what Joe has done all season. And for all of the good things he did on Saturday, he still made that critical mistake with 2 laps to go. So there's a lot to work with. There's a lot of silver lining there and a lot of positives. But to ever be the consistent guy that he wants to be and go challenge Hunter Lawrence for a championship, he's going to have to find a way to weed out some of those late race mistakes too.
Okay, that's it for now, but I know you're hard at work getting into Fowler's film room, ready with some stuff for Race Day Live, which we'll have 10 a.m. on Saturday.
Yep, Weege, working on some Jett analysis and what his true potential is for the season.
I don't know if there's a chart. It might be off the chart. I don't know if you can actually quantify that. It's pretty wild. But anyway, thanks for the help, and we'll see you next week. Time to wrap this show up. We are headed to High Point. You can watch everything on Peacock all weekend, starting at Race Day Live, presented by Motorsport.com. That's 10 a.m. Eastern, and then the motos start at 1 p.m. It's all on Saturday. Be good to have Ricky Carmichael join us this weekend, get his thoughts on the first couple rounds.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.